First little dive into 1440 in like 5 years.
What's up guys, it's BT here, and the price of this monitor isn't cheap. It's $900, so it better be worth it. The Alienware AW2721D offers amazing clarity at 1440p, while it offers FPS worthy refresh rates of 240 Hz. Now that's something that's kept me on 1080p for the longest time. I've tried going back down to a 27-inch 1440p monitor that had 144 Hz, 165 Hz, and it just wasn't the same. I personally got inspired to check out this monitor because Shroud was talking about the benefits of it over a 1080p monitor, which he had been using for the longest time during his competitive career. So I was like, you know what, if it's good enough for the FPS guy, then I know that it's more than enough for us plebs. And hopefully this will help us get on his level, because you guys know, let's be honest here, we need all the help we can get at this point. So starting off with the design of this monitor, it has very slim bezels, so if you want to put this in a triple monitor setup, you can. If you want to ball out, that's going to be what, $2,700. The color of the monitor is white. It looks very slick, but keep in mind, if you do have like a black setup or an all black setup, it's just not going to work. The stand is better than their old ones, those little daggers that look like you're gonna like impale somebody with the monitor stand. It's way better. It's a smooth, sleek design now, but it still sticks out a good amount, probably more than I'd like it to, and it gets in the way of my mouse pad. So after I'm done with this video, I'm throwing it back up onto my monitor mount, which is what I had it on before. Now the monitor mount is RGB, but for some reason mine just doesn't work. It just flickers now, so I think it's broken. So they need to increase the quality on their stands. But if you do want some backsplash onto your wall, it can provide that. They've got all the ports you could possibly want. They include some cables in the box. They also have a USB 3.2 upstream, so if you want to plug in data ports into the front of the monitor, you can do that as well. So if you want to plug in your mouse or your keyboard, you can do so with that cable. So the controls for this monitor, the power button is on the bottom front panel, and then on the back side there's the joystick and some menu buttons back there as well. I find that the system is pretty intuitive. It works really well, and the menus have all the usual suspects: brightness, contrast. They also have a dark stabilizer where you can raise the level of the blacks or the shadows so you can see your enemies better in darker spots. It's not as good as BenQ's black stabilizer, but it gets the job done, especially for a IPS panel. Now Alienware does pre-calibrate these monitors before they ship them out, so the standard mode is the best jack of all trades mode. I find that I really like that MOBA RTS one. It's a little bit more colorful, a little bit more vibrant, especially when you're gaming. It just adds a certain depth, color depth to your game. I really like that look. And of course you can tweak this to your liking, but I recommend, if you guys really want accurate, true to life colors, then definitely go with a color calibrator. I throw them on my monitors all the time so I can just have accurate colors when it comes to my videos. This does cover 98% of the DCI P3 color space, so you're getting some nice color depth here. And like I said, IPS is just going to give you deeper blacks than like a TN panel. So if you're coming from like a BenQ 2546, expect this to just pop out of your screen. Make sure, like, it just, there's so much contrast in these IPS monitors, it almost makes your image look 3D. Like my gun in Valorant, I felt like I was seeing it for the first time. And if you're coming from a TN panel, IPS will just give you better overall viewing angles. You're not gonna get that yellow nasty cast if you look to one side or the other. So it's gonna be great if you want to put this in a triple monitor setup or have it at an angle, because all your monitors are gonna look exactly the same and give you the same colors. So when you're looking for a monitor, you really want to make sure that they have that display HDR, because that means that it passed a certain spec, so you know what you're getting. Sometimes when they say just HDR 600, 400, you don't know what kind of measurements they're using, but with this, you know it met some kind of standard. So HDR will make your image pop. It's gonna make the brights brighter, the shadows darker, and it's just gonna make everything just look that much more crispier. So this monitor is 450 nits. It's not gonna be true HDR like 1000. Some of these, at that point, you're getting to like crazy high prices at that point, because HDR 1000 is just so expensive at the moment. I feel like HDR 600 is a good middle ground. it'll do the trick. I mean, I don't really watch too much content on my monitors anymore, but if you're watching movies, HDR 600 is more than enough in my opinion. So going from a 1080p to a 1440p is just gonna give you so much more sharpness, so much more real estate on your monitor. Text is gonna look better, videos are gonna look better, your gameplay is gonna look better. When I switched over from my BenQ to this one, it just felt like I was playing an entirely new game when I played Valorant. Now enemies will get smaller, so clicking heads is a little bit harder. That's why you see some pros going to like a stretched res to make their images bigger, to make enemies bigger. And that just makes your targets that much easier to hit. So I found once I switched over to this, it was a little bit harder to hit headshots. One thing that really helps if you are switching from like a 24-inch to a 27-inch is Kovacs. It's not just for mouse or aim training. Well, I guess this is aim training, but determining how far you need to move your mouse on a bigger screen is invaluable. So at first I was just missing all my shots, and then I went into Kovacs, started doing some drills, started doing some tile frenzy, just to get used to how much I had to move my mouse around the screen and how much real estate I now had. And once you run this a little bit, start getting used to the distances, how much you have to move your mouse, the 27-inch becomes a non-factor. Now I also tested the response time. They have a fast, super fast, and extreme, which is 4 milliseconds, 2 milliseconds, and 1 milliseconds, gray to gray. And so I did the pursuit test, and what I found is the extreme has extreme ghosting, lives up to its name. The super fast was a good middle ground, and the fast was the best in terms of keeping your image the same and reducing that blur. So I found for most games, you can just go with that extreme, like if you're playing a AAA title. If you're playing a FPS shooter, you want the clearest image possible, but I still like my response time to be pretty fast, so I like to use the super fast. Now this is where TN panels are better than IPS panels when it comes to like ghosting and seeing your image true to life. But I think IPS panels with the nano display technology are just getting a lot better when it comes to this, and they're only closing the gap. So if not now, in the near future, I feel like they're gonna get this response time thing down and get rid of the ghosting within IPS monitors. But for now, I think most people will be satisfied with the image and not really worried too much about the ghosting, especially if you're just playing at home, you're a streamer, you're a casual gamer, you have no interest in going pro. I think there's nothing wrong with just using an IPS monitor. So if you're at 144 Hz or 165 Hz, going to 240 Hz is definitely worth it in my opinion for those extra frames. It just gives you a little bit more breathing room when it comes to dropping frames during high action, high intense moments. You don't want to have a 144 Hz monitor, then it drops down to like 110 frames per second, and then what happens? It's going to be noticeable. There's going to be stuttering. You might miss your shot. It's going to be no good. If you're at 240 Hz and you drop down to like 200, you're not really going to notice a difference too much. And having 240 Hz or 240 frames will allow you to see these little intricate movements that your opponents are doing. So that just means more of a chance for you to catch your enemy compared to 144 frames. So this is just a great all-around monitor, no matter how you look at it. It's 1440p, it's super sharp. It gives you enough real estate if you want to edit, photo edit, video edit, and the colors are very true to life. They're very accurate, very good. Then you have that high refresh rate at 240 Hz, which is going to look great no matter what kind of game you're playing. AAA, first-person shooter titles, if you're playing Cyberpunk, this monitor is going to look exceptional. So if you want the smoothest experience, they also include G-Sync or FreeSync on this monitor as well. So you'll get no screen tearing. I only turn this on when I'm playing AAA titles, like if I'm playing Cyberpunk, I'll turn it on. But for FPS, I don't like the extra input lag, so I'll just leave it off. So backlight glow is always going to be a concern when it comes to IPS monitors. That's just the way that they work. In the top left and bottom left corners, there is a little bit of the IPS glow, but nothing to be concerned about. I've seen way worse than this. This is the creme de la creme, the pinnacle of gaming monitors. We don't need 4K 144 Hz. It's just not necessary in my opinion. 1440p gets the job done and then some. Gives you a sharp enough image while keeping your enemies big enough for you to see. 4K is just way too small for FPS in my opinion. And AAA titles are gonna look really good. You can edit, you can photo edit, you can video edit. Like I said, this just does it all. It has HDR for movies. I can go on and on about the features of this monitor. It's actually insane. And this is the best monitor that I've used in a very long time. So is that $900 price tag worth it? Yes. Now there is some competition coming out at lower prices, which I will have videos on very soon. I'm well aware of them. But for now, I think with Dell's, warranty program, with everything that they have going on, it gets brighter than the other monitors that are coming out at this same kind of price point and performance. There's just a lot to love with this monitor, and it's an easy pickup. If you are in the market for a new one, this one is gonna last you years, guys. Like, I don't see another monitor coming out in the near future that's gonna rival this one. And if it does, it's only gonna be a marginal, like very small marginal difference in performance. So unless something really changes when it comes to response time and ghosting, when it comes to IPS monitors, some new tech comes out, this is going to be the pinnacle of gaming monitors. So Shroud Senpai was onto something when he picked up this monitor and started using it over even 360 hertz monitors. So guys, if you're in the market for one, it's a new year, we're going into a new year. It's time, guys. It's time to change out that old 144 hertz monitor. And it starts with this guy. All right, guys, it has been your boy BT. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.